Hello world! Here is a video that I wanted to shoot now for a long time already. Unreal and Unity have been dominating the openly accessible game engines industry for years, and they were pretty much each other's only and biggest competitors. But something has changed. Godot has recently begun to overthrow the entire industry's dynamic and is leveling the game engine's playing field. And it does so with a very unique superpower that only few people are actually aware of. What's crazy about this is this: whether Unity or Unreal fans like it or not, they will need Godot to grow and improve just in order to protect their own games, their own studios, their businesses, etc., even if they never use Godot themselves. But how does Godot hold any power in the face of Unity's and Unreal's massively developed game engines? Clearly, the Godot engine and also the community are not yet at a level that would have Unity or Unreal worried too much, right? But the truth is, it also doesn't have to be on the level in order to shuffle the cards in the game engine industry anew. Then how can Godot possibly tip any scale in the face of these two giants who are its competitors in the market? And more importantly, why now and not before? To answer that, let's dig a little bit deeper into Godot and its recent history. As you might know, Godot is an open source project and it's free to use to anyone. This means you never have to pay any royalties or any licensing fees. To achieve this, Godot relies on very few core developers as well as many voluntary contributors, as well as generous donations to propel the development of the engine. In the face of an employed workforce counting in the thousands, Unity and Unreal for a long time had an advantage in the development of the game engine, and it's very likely they will remain many steps ahead of the Godot engine for a longer time thanks to this expensive advantage. Though even that may change in the near future as Godot's adoption keeps growing. So knowing all this, you already got the first puzzle piece to better understand what Godot's hidden superpower is. Let's continue by looking back into the first quarter of 2023, because here is where the first magic sparks of Godot's superpower began to fly. You see, like many open source projects, Godot has a history of being underestimated and mocked as a piece of software deemed unfit for the purpose that it's made for, especially while being compared to Unity. But that's all fair and nothing strange. The team around Godot did the right thing and converted all critique into feedback to continue improving the game engine. The continuous hard work of many voluntary contributors and the driven core dev team were about to pay off. Through the massive update to Godot version 4 in March 2023, Godot implements many crucial changes and adds and improves on many tools and functionalities. Through these huge improvements, Godot surpasses a critical point where it now caters sufficiently to the expectations of developers, and it manages to set up camp in the top 3 game engines openly available to the masses that we have on the market today. And throughout the months of 2023, it is slowly but steadily finding the deserved acknowledgement and acceptance as a performing game engine that it has nowadays. And it is not the first time that a story like this unfolds. Let's remember that Blender once had a similar history, and now it sits there as a well-accepted standard for 3D modeling. And it's not just me pulling this comparison, I just took it from the internet. The fact alone that people everywhere are pulling this comparison and analogy tells a story on its own and shows how far Godot has grown over the years. But let's not stray from the topic. With the update to Godot 4 in March 2023 and the massive improvements they made on the front of the engine's 3D support, Godot tackles head-on the prevailing argument that it's only fit to make 3D games with. And it has in fact improved so much that it now represents an alternative to game developers who seek to make themselves independent of Unity and Unreal, both engines who are known for high quality capabilities to develop 3D games with. And it's clearly not on the same level, but it's already good enough. And this is also where Godot's unique superpower began to shine. Godot suddenly became an interchangeable good in economic terms, even though in this context it's still of lower value than its competitors, as it brings a slightly lower satisfaction to use or consume. Yet it comes with its unique selling points, which can outweigh this disadvantage. Perks which you are most likely already familiar with. First, the Godot engine's pricing model, 0 fees, 0 royalties. And secondly, the very unique node system, which is easy to use for beginners and for veterans alike. This already shines bright enough for ever more people to have a serious look at the Godot engine. And now we're finally here. The reason why Godot is becoming an indispensable asset to the game engines industry. Unity and Unreal have to be on their toes by Godot's unique positioning. It is possible for them to face consequences in the future whenever they now act against the interest of their users or are overstepping the line in any other way. Why? Because users have now a growing alternative which has surpassed critical mass and is gaining in popularity by the day. The effects of this have clearly been noted throughout the whole game dev community at the end of 2023. Do you remember when Unity declared out of the blue that they would adapt the pricing model, adding new streaming fees, which the industry had not heard of until then? If you have missed that one, you must be new to game development or you're living under a rock. Thousands of game devs were not only surprised or in disbelief, but many were even furious and heartbroken about these changes. And the reason for this hefty reaction towards Unity is very much understandable. Unity declared these changes without any prior signs or warnings. They broke a bond of trust and expectations between the developers using the Unity game engine and Unity as a company, who didn't even make clear how the streaming fees would be tracked or accounted for. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of things that Unity did wrong in the past few years that would lead them to this point. I found a great summary of everything related to this ordeal in this video by Bellular News, which I link in the description below for further reading. I'll just say this much. The development of a single game can often take years until the work is completed. Committing to a game engine for that long can only happen when the game studios or the developers know what to expect out of the future and the cooperation with the company that is running the game engine. And for many, Unity was clearly heading into the wrong direction. Many of the loyal partners and long-year customers deemed a future with Unity as too insecure, or they straight disagreed how Unity was running the show. So they started actively looking for an alternative. It was at that moment when Godot suddenly became one of the hottest topics of debate in this whole Unity meltdown. Of course, highly fueled by Juan Linietsky, who didn't waste a second to reach out a helping hand to any shocked developer and also ran his own campaign. As the saying goes, one's misfortune is another's fortune, right? Now, nobody can say what would have happened if Godot wouldn't have been around. Would more people have switched to the Unreal 5 engine instead? Did Godot actually make any difference at all in all of this? Let me hear what you think in the comments below. But the underlying problem is this. Unreal could have just jumped on the boat with something along the lines, "Oh, Unity's doing something interesting. I want it too." And with no other competing engine of similar power, the users and developers of Unity and Unreal would just have to take it, whether they liked it or not. Thankfully, with Godot as a big enough all-purpose game engine and as a free-to-use open source software, its positioning is absolutely unique compared to any other game engine on the market. Through this positioning, it can not only work as a true market regulator by offering a safe haven to all those who feel mistreated by monetization policies, but it also forces other game engine companies to continuously improve their own game engines just in order to continue justifying their own pricing models. This alone creates a dynamic where Godot, as a free-to-use competitor, puts an ever-growing pressure on all other participants of this game industry and passively drives innovation. You see, game engines can't allow Godot to catch up too much. So there you have all the puzzle pieces of Godot's hidden superpower. Pricing models can't be made too unfair, and innovation in the best interest of the game developers using the engines has to be made a clear priority for as long as Godot keeps creating pressure. And this is the reason why every game developer or studio would want to see Godot growing and establishing its presence in this game engine industry. Whether you are a Unity cultist or an Unreal fan, or you are frantically in love with any other game engine, you benefit from Godot's growth and success either way, and everyone wins. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep creating awesome games.